To be fair to her, she had no experience of governing, of local government particularly. She's had 8 months now to do the job. And things are starting to fray around the edges a little bit. She had a lot of support. She united a very divided and fragmented council. She achieved that, and now people are anxious to see what's next. Wellington has some enormous problems, and I think people of Wellington, some of the solutions are very polarising, and people are very anxious about what's to come, as she alluded to, a very painful next few years.
Merepeka, what were your thoughts?
Well, I suppose when I listened to the interview, I thought there's a lot to be said for a mayor doing at least one term as a councillor, be they from Gore, Auckland or Wellington, because local body politics and council, it's serious business. People want to know that you're going to share a vision that that they can align with, that they can align with their aspirations. They know that you're going to be a prudent overseer of the financial operations of the council, and so you shouldn't be the focus. The business of council should be the focus, and that's what I got from that. Tori has everything going for her. She's a woman, she's Māori, she's educated, and she's young. And she is young, but I do believe that you have got to understand relationships around the council table are absolutely important, and it does sometimes tell when you haven't been on council before. This is the year when you've got to make your mark, your first year.
Yeah, and so what I'm seeing, I suppose, we're seeing her style. What we need to see now is the substance, Andrea.
Yeah, I do. I think. I don't think anyone. Well, maybe a few grumpy old men are saying she shouldn't go out and have a red wine. But I think more realistically, people are saying, go out, do that. I'm of a similar age to Tori. I also like a night out and a red wine, but I still turn up and do my job. And when you're letting people down, that's when people start to get irritated, especially in a city where people are anxious and they want reassurance about the future and what that looks like. So I do think that some of that was a little disingenuous. That isn't the criticism that she's a party mayor, you know. I think also it's absolutely unacceptable of the abuse that she gets on social media, and I think she's stopped her Twitter account, and people shouting her down at a meeting also is not acceptable, and that behaviour shouldn't go on. At the same time, it always astonishes me the lack of responsibility that politicians take for the anger of the public. People are angry with you because you make promises that you cannot keep. That's why people are angry. That's why people are shouting. They shouldn't shout at you, but you have to. She said no one was letting me speak, but actually, as a mayor, she was there to listen. You know, she should be hearing what people are saying. She should be listening to the ratepayers and the people who live in the city, not talking at them.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that. When Ratepayer Association and other community groups invite you, they usually are inviting you so that you can explain what it is that they're concerned about. But you have to understand that if you go to any ratepayers meeting today, it is invariably older people, invariably Pākehā, and it's as if they leave home and leave their manners at home, and they come to these meetings and they are quite verbally abusive. They're quite verbally abusive, and no civic leader should have to take that sort of conduct.
Oh, agreed.
It's not conducive to people getting the information that they need and having that good, robust debate. That's very important. So there are, and older people who turn up to these community meetings, they have a sense of entitlement. You know, I've been around for a long time. I know what a mayor looks like. I know how a mayor should conduct themselves. Well, that's all gone. We've got young mayors now who know their community, not just the uptown folks. They know who's living on the other side of town, who's undergoing some serious issues in terms of struggling with day-to-day life. And so that's what younger mayors bring, that knowledge.
Do you think that, what does she need to do now? You know, she's had 8 months in the office, there's just sort of 2 years left in this term. Wellington is facing huge issues. What does she need to do right now to sort of get Wellington back on track?
Well, I think that there's a serious side to her, and I think I'd like to see that. I mean, you know, people want to see that, but Wellington, I suspect, is undergoing some significant issues. If she campaigned on the pipes, if she campaigned on the environment, all of those sort of things, people wanted. They put her there about those issues. That's what they want to hear.
We need to see that, Andrea.
Well, the problem is that she campaigned in the campaign she said that she would do everything she could to make sure that rates wouldn't rise. Well, they're about to go up by 12.3%. She said that she would fix the pipes. Wellington Water asked for 10 million. They got 3-something million, and yet they found 10 million to build a playground. So that's why people in Wellington are annoyed. The light rail project has its benefits, it also has its problems. It is, as I said, very polarising, and I think when you hear a mayor saying that she's not across the business case, which is upcoming, I think, you know, that doesn't give people a lot of confidence.